My final presentation is on brevetoxins. What are brevetoxins? Brevetoxins are a group of neurotoxic compounds. They are tasteless and they are odorless. Brevetoxins are produced naturally by a species of dinoflagellates known as Carina brevis. They are also known as the red tide. If you look in the top right-hand corner, you will see what Carina brevis or brevetoxins look like under a microscope, and in the bottom left-hand corner, you will see what the chemical compound of brevetoxins are. In this slide here, you will see on the right-hand side what the red tide looks like in the water. On the left-hand side is a sign that is frequently seen on the coast of Florida. It says, "Caution, red tide present, may cause eye, throat, or skin irritation. May cause coughing or sneezing. Avoid the beach if you have asthma or a respiratory condition. Onshore winds and rough surf worsen its effects. Red tide is caused by naturally occurring algae, can kill fish and other sea animals. Do not swim near dead fish or touch them. Wear shoes to prevent injuries from stepping on bones or dead fish." So, how do fish come into contact with brevetoxins? So, we talked about the red tide. The red tide is caused by a harmful algal bloom, which is made up of an organism called Carina brevis, which we talked about before, that can kill sea life. So when the red tide is present in Florida waters, you'll notice that the water will appear either brown-green or a reddish-orange color, and it will have the smell of dead fish. Since brevetoxins are made by the same organism that create the red tide, fish living in the algal bloom would automatically pick up more brevetoxins than normal. Since they're swimming in the water that the red tide is in and the brevetoxins are in, obviously when you have a group of brevetoxins in that water and fish and other animals are breathing in that water, they're going to pick up those brevetoxins. Same with dolphins, because they're eating those fish. Same with manatees, because they're eating the grasses that live at the bottom of where those brevetoxins are. Birds will eat the fish that are polluted by the brevetoxins. So there's just a lot of pollution with the brevetoxins that start with the fish. Brevetoxin toxicity, it can be done by inhalation, dermal, or oral ingestion. Gastrointestinal symptoms include abdominal pain, vomiting, and diarrhea. Neurological symptoms include paresthesia, vertigo, ataxia, and switches in sensations. And what that means basically is, let's say you feel something hot, but that sensation will actually feel cold to you instead of hot. Respiratory exposure may cause cough, dyspnea, and bronchospasms. And here you can see the different types of systems that they affect. So in the top left-hand corner, you'll see the respiratory system. On the right-hand side, you'll see the digestive system. And in the middle here, you'll see the nervous system. So we have the brain, the spinal cord, all the way down to your feet. So who do brevetoxins affect? Obviously, we talked about it affecting fish. It can also affect dolphins, crustaceans, mollusks, manatees, seagrasses. It can affect the seabirds that eat the fish. It can affect humans because humans eat fish and the crustaceans and the mollusks. Here you can see kind of a chart of what those biomagnifications are. So in the top right-hand corner, you'll see the chart. You have your phytoplankton that contain the toxins, which get eaten by the zooplankton. And then your herring or other small fish eat the phytoplankton. And then your salmon or slightly larger fish eat your herring or slightly smaller fish. And then you have your large mammals like your whales, your dolphins, humans, they eat the other slightly larger fish, which in turn poisons the entire ecosystem. On the left-hand side, you will see kind of a miniature scale of what brevetoxins can do. So you see the sea turtles, you see a bunch of fish laying on the beach. So brevetoxins bind to voltage-gated sodium channels, membrane proteins that allow the flow of sodium ions through the cell's plasma membrane, generating an action potential, which is essentially electrical current across the cell and keeps them activated through constantly open sodium channels that allow sodium ions freely through the cell membrane, allowing nerves and muscles to spontaneously fire as if excited, constantly in an excited state. In innervated organisms, brevetoxins cause problems within the basic functioning mechanism of nerves. Nerves operate through changes in electrical charge through sodium-potassium pumps. Ordinarily, these pumps would maintain a slight negative charge inside the cell relative to the outside. The nerve cells fire by allowing sodium ion cells to increase the relative charge, generating electricity and creating an action potential. Brevetoxin binds to the sodium channels and allows for unmitigated flow of sodium ions into the nerve cells. And that is all I have for you guys on brevetoxins.